Yeah, so just let's be mindful. Like, we could talk forever, so let's keep it at like 30,
Yeah,
35. Yeah.
no problem. We got this.
Oh,
Okay.
we're already live.
Are we live? Oh my God.
Yeah.
We are? Hi,
Yeah.
are we?
Very much live. We're
I
alive.
saw I saw this meme, like, I see us. I saw this meme that was like, meetings on Zoom when they start, it's like 10 minutes of people being like, are you on? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Are we here?
Yes.
But we're here. Okay, yay. We're live. Hi, everybody. Whoever is joining, whoever wants to join. If you were here yesterday, you know who we are. I'm Amelia. This is my page. If you don't know who I am, then I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, this is my friend Felix. He's in New York City. I'm in Viña del Mar, Chile. And we decided to have these self-love and quarantine conversations where, we talk about real shit that we're dealing with. And yesterday we talked about a little bit about what it's like to quarantine in New York City right now. If you're on, I sometimes see you pop on and I can shout you out, but I would love to know who's here. So leave a comment if you're on, or if you're watching the replay, leave a hashtag replay. But anyway, so yesterday we had some really good conversation, and towards the end we started talking about dating and relationships and dating in isolation and quarantine, and that got really juicy and we got a lot of hearts and stuff. So we definitely want to have that conversation. We were supposed to have it today, but in the spirit of being present with what is real and going with the flow and being flexible, we will reserve. Oh, look, Felix is watching. Hi, Felix.
Oh yeah.
We will reserve that conversation for another day, probably Wednesday. But today, this morning, I got the call and I got the news that someone really close to me passed away from the virus. And it was really shocking and devastating. Hey, EJ. We didn't even know, or let me speak for myself, I didn't even know that this person was sick. And it's the first person, not the first person that I know that got sick, because I know a lot of people who have been sick who are recovering, but it's the first person really close to me that has passed away. And I just wanted to talk about that because it's something really real that a lot of us are having to deal with. And it feels really insulting when speaking for myself, I want to say we, but who am I speaking for? Myself. It's insulting when I see people saying like, this isn't real. This is a hoax. People are overreacting, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, it's not real until, unfortunately, a lot of things aren't real until they happen to you. But this is very real. I know many people who were very, very sick. And now I know someone, well, close to me, who has passed away. And it sucks. And the harsh reality is, if you don't know and you haven't been watching the news about it or seeing these articles, but the harsh reality is most people, or all of them, usually die alone, and we're not even able to grieve or gather together the way we normally would when someone passes away. So, well, I'm here in Chile anyway, with no possible way to fly back to the States. So it's really real. It's really hard. And I wanted today to talk about grief because I feel like as a society, we are really undereducated or not educated at all on how to deal with loss. There's a lot of education out there on how to deal with acquiring things, like how to get a new job, how to get the ring on your finger, how to what is it, make new friends and influence people, how to get more. And the other day we talked about the conditioning of our society to produce more, to get more, to do more, to be more. And it's been breaking us down, and the systems that we have in place are just not, they're not sustainable. And so we're taught how to get more and do more and produce more, but we're not taught how to lose a job, how to lose someone, how to get divorced, how to do all these, how to deal with a pretty much loss of freedom overnight. And so I just want to talk about that. I don't really have any like points about that, but I wanted to, it was important to me to commit to this time that we said we were going to go live, but also to pivot and be flexible with the topic and to just really be present with what is. And I don't know, I just think we're taught to like grieve in isolation and to grieve alone and not talk about these things so openly. And so I'm just here wanting to talk about it. And lots of people are here, so thank you so much. Giving Heart, C, Kana, Edward, Daisy, Jane, Chris, not Daniel, but that's the Facebook name, so we're gonna go with Daniel. EJ, thank you so much for being here. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't know if you have anything to say, Felix. I feel like I've been talking for a while.
No, it's fine, and it's really good to have these conversations because it's needed. That space is needed to be vulnerable, to actually feel what you're feeling. We can go from that. I think in the human experience, so it's been deemed taboo or unacceptable to be sad, to be angry, to be upset, to be disappointed, right? And these are natural emotions that it's just part of our, it's what makes us human. It's part of our rainbow, right? It's part of our range of colors. So I think it's great that we are taking time to have that conversation, and also, like, I think we're all experiencing grief in some sense. Like, we can't move the way we are used to. We have to be we have to stay apart. Like, I miss hugging. You know, I'm a big hugger.
I literally
So
posted about this on Instagram. I was like, somebody touch me, please.
so it's like, it's now like, one of the first things I'm gonna do is hug my family, you know. So it's something that, like, back then we take for granted the privilege of like going out anywhere we want to, and now we're in this place where we, you know, in order for us to support and save, we must stay inside, right? I don't, this is not necessarily because I want to, it's not necessarily because I need to. um it's because I can be carrying, and I can actually inadvertently or unbeknownst to me hurt someone
Yeah,
by spreading it to someone. So um yeah, I think there's always a time and place to be high energy, positive, and all that, but at the same time, we can also be with our, with what is leaving, right? We can be sad for the souls that are, um the people that are being affected by this,
yeah.
you know.
And in New York right now, I mean, like 700 or so
It's
people a day are dying. Like
yeah,
funerals, everything is just,
and
it's crazy.
it's it's just insane the amount of people that are outside. Like, it's crazy. I live in Harlem. Yesterday, I actually videotaped it. There was a whole gang of motorbikers. There were at least 100 of them biking in the streets. I was like, why?
Yeah,
Why? Like, why? It's a little warm. I get it, but why? Why would you endanger yourselves and other people?
yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, crazy times. And, nothing really prepares me for this kind of news, or anyone, I think. But again, I can only speak for myself. And a lot of people watching probably already know this. Some don't, but my mom passed away. Actually, this Friday will be her, I call it angel birthday. It's the anniversary of her passing on the 17th, 7 years now. Gosh, wow, it feels like it just happened. And my nephew passed away 2 years after that. And so it was just like this 1-2 punch of grief in such a big, real way in my life. And I went through this, so the last 7 years have just been this education on grief and this education on how do we heal. And I feel like hey Sean, hey Rebecca, thanks for being here. Hey Mia, hey Dubs, hey Corazon, hey Sean. Oh, I said Sean.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
I gotta say hey.
Hey Ellen, if you're here, drop an emoji, drop a hi, drop a heart. If you're watching the replay, drop a hashtag replay. We're talking about grief. Hey Julissa again. So I've been on this 7-year education about grief, and kind of like how it boggled your mind, I could see it on your face. You're like, why are so many people out? So for me, it's similarly, I'm like, why are we so undereducated about grief? We say things like, time will heal all, just give it time, or be strong. But really, when people say be strong, they mean don't cry or don't show emotion. And to me, that's not strength, right? And the best way, and this is a lot of the stuff that I learned is coming from a grief recovery book, which if anyone wants to know what it is, I'll drop a link in the comments. But it changed my life. I actually interviewed someone who does training for the grief recovery method that this book talks about. And I interviewed her, and it was just such a great conversation. And so I can give you some of the highlights where she says, we say the word grief, and all of a sudden people are like, I'm not grieving, unless it's death. Death. But if you're saying if you say grief for anything else, it's I'm not grieving. But the definition in the book is, grief is the natural and inevitable response to a change in a pattern or behavior, a familiar pattern or behavior, which, yes, obviously includes, if someone passes away, the pattern or behavior that was there was this person in your life, and now in a physical form, and then now that is gone. So then that is grief. But also, like you said, we're all grieving. I mean, this is a huge change in all of our daily lives. Yep. But we're just like, oh, time will heal, or just be strong, where be strong means don't have emotions. And all of that is just myths. That's not really it. If you break your arm, if someone breaks their arm, you're not going to be like, oh, time will heal that. You're going to be like, go to the hospital, get the bone set, get a cast on it, all of that stuff. And then it's this 6-week to months long process, depending on how bad the break is, of healing. And I feel like we have this misconception that emotional healing doesn't require steps, and doesn't require processing, and doesn't require attention and time to rest and heal. So we continue going on our day, we try to push forward, and we don't, we're essentially bleeding out at the heart. And it cumulatively negatively impacts our ability and our capacity for happiness and joy. And I know this firsthand, because with that 1-2 punch of losing my mom and my nephew, I tried to go on I did grief support groups. I did grief therapy, which also has a beautiful place, and it also did really help. But it also boggles my mind how many people don't do that and don't talk about their grief. And again, I'm not saying that as a oopsies, we lost him.
I messed up. Technical.
A little comic relief, a little energy medicine. I'm not saying that as a judgment. I'm saying, well, it's not a judgment on the people who don't deal with it. It's a judgment on society for not properly educating us or not having, whatever in place. The same way we know to go to a doctor when we break an arm. It's like you go do this process, this emotional process to heal your broken heart. And we don't have that, I mean, well, it's out there. Like I said, I read the book. I read the book. I did the interview. I did the process. I got the t-shirt. And it does help. It does help. And it's actually a process that I do with my clients as well, because it's just so helpful. It's just like a physical break needs a process to heal and time and rest and all of that. So do emotional ones,
Yeah.
And that's why I just felt it was really important to talk about it, because I feel like people are probably starving for or open to different ways to deal with their emotions now. I mean, we're like stuck in our little cement boxes 24 hours a day. So
Well,
yeah,
I think that's one of the things that has came up for a lot of people is that now, you don't have the excuse of being busy. Now you have to deal with yourself. Now you have to be with yourself. Now you have to be with your partner. Now you have to be with your kids. So now you have to be in space with the people who are closest to you, including yourself. And you can avoid it, but it's there, and it's going to you will decide whether you want it to get crazy or you want it to explode, or you're going to start working to heal your relationship with self and your relationship with the people close to you.
Yeah. So how do you because I mean, we're saying yeah, you have to deal with yourself and you have to be with yourself and you have to do this process. How do you be with yourself? How do you deal with things? How do you identify the moment that you're lying to yourself that you're okay when you're really not? What's your process?
Wow.
And I need a perfectly step-by-step bullet pointed PDF. No, I'm just kidding. Just in this moment. Hey, Sandra.
For me, I just notice my energy, and when I'm doing something and I'm being drained by it, then I understand that that's not it's not supporting me and feeling my best.
It's not filling you up.
Yeah, it's not filling me up. It's not fulfilling my need. So I said yesterday, I started working with a therapist last year, and for me the struggle had been that the story was always that I would start refilling myself when I was completely depleted. And the way that looked, it looked like I would wait till I ate everything in the fridge before I went to the supermarket. I would wait till I'm completely tapped out or burned out to start to. So we spoke about how I worked all week the week before quarantine, and it's always like the pendulum swinging. So the pendulum just swung so hard that when I got into quarantine, I was like, fuck everything. I'm just gonna completely let go. So, it can either happen as a reaction, right? Which sometimes I can't control, or I can intentionally check in and see why it is that I feel this way. I'm not feeling I'm not feeling at my best. What is it that I need to feel at my best? And it could be sometimes it could be as simple as drinking a cup of water. I may be dehydrated. I haven't drank water in 5 hours, you know?
That's usually the first place to go. I think is like drink a glass of water. That usually
Yeah.
will fill your tank up a little bit.
Um, I haven't, it's, you're, I think so. There's power. There's so much more power in asking the question than looking to have the answer. Because when you ask the question,
Mm-hmm.
the answer comes automatically, and it doesn't come in a form of words. It comes in you into it. It just comes to you, right? So when I'm willing to be with myself, when I just stand still in what I'm feeling, and I check in, what is it that I'm feeling? I'm
Yeah.
feeling uneasy. I'm feeling uneasy. Uh I'm feeling I don't feel well. Like I'm not liking myself. Like I'm not. So then I ask myself, well, what can I do now to feel a little better? Right. So I don't put on myself the expectation to feel
Perfect.
incredible,
Yeah.
amazing,
Hi,
joie de
Todd.
vivre. Right. So I don't like, I look to take the steps, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm not gonna go from 0 to 100. I'm not Drake. So right.
So I like what
But
I'm hearing you say is like it's kind of like I immediately thought of a gas tank, right? And it's like, do you fill up your gas tank when it's half full, quarter full, or do you wait until the light
mm,
goes off? Or do
mm,
you wait until you get stopped on the freeway? And I feel like what I'm hearing is like, and I think a lot of people do this, we wait until we get stopped on the freeway
yeah,
before we think, oh, shit, maybe my tank is empty. Because again, back to conditioning, we're conditioned to do it that way. And we're not conditioned to have a, self-love tank meter that's like, ooh, I'm a little half full, or like maybe I want to top it off like before I
yeah,
get stuck on
yeah,
the freeway. And even worse, we don't even wait till it's stuck on the freeway. We wait until like the tires blow out and
yeah.
there's smoke coming out and the car's broken down and all the oil is like gone,
So,
you know?
and all
Yeah.
that goes, and all that goes back to identifying your story, which was your programming when you were growing up. So for me, what happened was that I was the youngest out of 4 boys, right?
Yeah.
And I lived with my mom. So we grew up on food stamps because we ain't had no money. So my mom would make these compras. We call them compras. She would go to the supermarket and buy like $300-$400 of food, right? And she will stock up the refrigerator. She will stock everything. And then what we would do is that we would destroy everything in a week or two. And then we didn't have anything else, right? So that was kind of like the conditioning. So for me as an adult, I'm now learning that these are the same patterns that I follow. That I buy like at the beginning of the month, and then like I have everything I need, and then completely deplete it. And then what actually happens is that I have nothing, and now I'm ordering, and I'm getting sandwiches from the deli. So now I'm having patterns that are unhealthy, that are actually financially are not supporting me financially in my vision, and also are not the healthiest choice, because now I'm not getting to, you know, make my own food. I know what's in my own food. So
Yeah.
so it goes like it goes into understanding your story and your programming. So for me, that's what it's
Yeah.
been like, going back there and being like, oh, that's why I do
Yeah.
this, and
Well,
then
and
changing it.
so I think that all of that's a really good point. And I think this, like, even if we backtrack, the step before that
Yeah,
is to take yourself off autopilot, right? Because only when you're off autopilot is when you can actually pause long enough to even notice these behaviors. Because, like, if you had no reason to just even ask the question, right? And that's why it's like we wait until we're broken down on the freeway, the tires are blown out, and the smoke is going. Even asking the question of, like, okay, what do I look like at like my tank half full? What do I look like at my tank full? What do I look like at a quarter full? Okay, what do I look like at empty? And you kind of start, you take yourself off autopilot and like become this like observer of yourself to be like, okay, like what are these parameters? So that you can actually identify them. Because if you're just on autopilot, then you're not going to even be able to identify them or even pause long enough to make that assessment. And then you can have those markers and even have people in your life hold you accountable for like, ooh, like you're getting on like quarter, you're like going below a quarter tank. And actually, my ex roommate slash ex best friend slash ex business partner
Slash what else?
slash ex case of that. But anyway, I mean, we had a great relationship. I actually had a dream about her the other day, but we had a really beautiful relationship while it lasted. That did a lot for both of us. But she would know when I would be like pushing below that quarter tank. And we created this like kind of, what's the word? Like a pattern break.
Sorry.
Keep losing you. A pattern break.
I'm here.
Like code word or like safe word or phrase. And so basically she would just be like, eat a banana. Like that was the safe word or whatever. And I would it would take me out, because the thing is with me, I know when I'm getting below that quarter tank, when I start being really cranky and critical of other people. Like if I start being really like nitpicky, or like if I'm wanting to like gossip or like talk shit, and not in like a funny, ironic way, like in a real like this bitch, you know. So when I start getting cranky, like, so of course, like we lived together for a few years, and so she would know. And
You're not you when you're hungry.
No, she'd just be like, eat a banana. And sometimes I'll need to just drink a glass of water, like you said, or eat a banana. Like usually it's like, that's the easiest thing. You just take a banana off the shelf and you just eat it. And it's like, girl, your blood sugar is low. Like you need to step away from the computer and eat a banana. And so obviously, and then when I live alone, you know, I'll just have like Post-its. And actually, you know, Justin, who a lot of you know, he left a Post-it on my printer when we lived together. And he was like, make sure to rest and take breaks. And I swear to God, it's like, it's been such a save, because it's literally like, there's like my laptop and then the printer and then the Post-it. And I'll be like this. And like, when I start getting cranky, I'll be like, and then I'll see it and I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to eat today, or I should probably take a shower.
So I notice it when like when I get annoyed, if someone is texting me and asking me a lot of questions, I'm like, why am I getting annoyed? It's not about them, right? I also like, today I'm studying. I'm finishing up a nutrition course. And I just signed up for their level 2, which is a whole year of coaching and mentoring. And I'm a little scared, but I'm excited. But I noticed that they were today I'm reading and I'm like, yo, what the fuck is all these like scientific terms? Like, why? I don't need to know this. And I was like, oh, I'm getting annoyed. Like I need a break.
Like, eat a banana.
Now I was like, yeah, I need to eat. That's why I was like,
you're not in your best self. Exactly.
No, I was like,
hey Brandy,
what the
hey
fuck
Yahara,
does that mean?
Hey Todd, who else did I not say hi to? Hey Reese, hey Joel, all these people. Let us know you're here. But yeah, we're talking about being cranky and needing to eat a banana. So that's how you know, like, because normally if you were at your full self, you would just be studying. But then when you start being like,
when I become irate, annoyed, judgmental, right? So when I'm judgmental, I'm like, why am I judging that? So I look to like search and discover why I'm doing that.
And usually it's just because you need to eat a banana or drink a glass of water or take a break.
Or do something loving for yourself, you know? I like to practice either work out or a bath, Epsom salt. What else? I do something mindless. I watch a TV show or play a video game. I've been doing this, but it's raining outside, so today I'm not doing it. Just taking some sun,
Yeah.
reading a little bit. So,
I take naps. I'm a big napper.
oh yeah, that's
I
what
take
I haven't.
naps. I'll I'll take a really long time to do a face mask and just like
That sounds good. That really
yeah.
does sound good.
Or I give myself permission. Actually, this is another thing too that because a lot of you watching know I'm a hypnotherapist. I've studied a lot about the subconscious mind, and so just to kind of because we talked about being on autopilot and just to kind of give you all what that's like. It's like if you know how like if you've been somewhere a million times, whether you drive there or you walk there or you take the bus or the subway there, the first time you had to go there, you had to like really pay attention and be like, okay, I get off at this stop, or this is the turn that I make, or whatever. You're really paying attention. Your conscious mind is full throttle, and your subconscious mind is still learning that routine, that pattern. But if you've it's like walking or traveling somewhere and then you get there and you're just like, how did I even get here? Like who drove this car? Who drove this body? And that's because it was your subconscious mind driving, and that's you on autopilot. And so what we're talking about is taking yourself off autopilot. And even if it's just to ask, I love how you said earlier, just to ask a question, because statements are like, there's no possibility in statements like, I'm too lazy to do that, I don't have enough money to do that, I
Right.
can't do that anyway. Like those are statements, right? But questions like open it up. Or like, for example, we're talking about waiting till our waiting till we break down on the freeway before we freaking stop working and like torturing ourselves. One can easily say, I'm too busy, there's too much to do, I don't have time to take myself off autopilot, I don't have time to take a break from my to-do list, I don't have time to do something self-care. Like those are statements, and you make those statements, then boom, that's it, all possibility is gone.
Well,
But
it's
if
the
you ask
rea-
the
that's the
question,
that's just the reality, because now
exactly,
you declared that this is what is, and now
yeah,
there's no space for anything else.
exactly. But like how you said earlier, if you ask the question, how can I stop working myself to the bone? How can I recognize when I'm on quarter, when I'm like half full and I need to replenish? And I think that's where what we're talking about in our experience is how we've come up with these answers of realizing like, oh, when I get real cranky, or it's when I start judging, and when I start like not enjoying the things that I usually like, or like you
But
said, the words.
but but I love this conversation because there's like a level of acceptance that it takes for you to actually be honest about, oh, I'm being judgmental, oh, I'm being angry, oh, I'm being sad, oh, I'm being petty, so now there's ownership, and now you can do something about it, as opposed to a lot of people, they deny, right, or they make it seem like it's a bad thing. No, it's actually part of the full human experience, to experience the duality of sadness and happiness, right? Because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
um so I think this conversation is great because of that. You start becoming aware and accept, right? That way you can actually choose, because otherwise you can't choose. Otherwise it's all reactive, and now you're not being proactive, you're not creating, right? So the point of asking questions is that now you're not looking to be, it's not in reaction of what's happening. Now you're looking to create and discover what it is that you as a person needs to shift your energy, to alter to change your state, because we are very much responsible for how we show up, and we're very much responsible for our state of being. Um so so yeah, I think that's all I have to say on
Yeah.
that, I guess.
One of the things too that I notice when I'm not whatever, when my maybe not so much when my tank is getting empty, it's more if when I'm not doing from like my highest best self. And it was this thing that too that came up while I was in a therapy session, where I rush through things. And it's kind of like, and like I said, with that automatic, I go to this autopilot and I rush through things, and I try to get to the end result, and then I get frustrated. And one of the biggest tells for me is like, if I'm rushing, like looking for something, like let's say through my purse or through my desk, like you'll know I had a week, like, cause like you'll see like little scratches like all over my, like tiny ones, like all over my hands, because I'm like rushing to pull a piece of paper out of my drawer, or like rushing to find something in my purse, and like a pen scratches me or something, you know, rushing to get in my car, and like my clothes, my dress is hanging out of the car door or something. And I love what you said about the level of acceptance and the non-judgment, because now when I notice that, I'm not like, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I'm doing that thing again. I'm like, oh, I'm rushing again, and I don't need to rush. And I can just look through my purse. And I don't have to like cut up my hands to like, you know, get done what I need to get done, you know.
I think for the purposes of,
Hi everybody.
I think this has been great. It's been 35 minutes. I'm just letting you know.
No, I know.
Okay.
We're wrapping it up.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I think, yeah, those are the things.
That's the word, people.
Yeah, and so here's, and the thing about it is that we're never going to be, our state is ever changing, right? It's never, we're not static. We're human beings. We're never going to be static. And so, you know, we can't, it's not healthy to have the expectation that we're always going to be excited and like, you know, always going to be up here. So, you know, because that's a recipe for disappointment. It's okay to be low. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be wherever you are. And from there is where you can elevate yourself and come back, you know. So that's it. That's what I do. I'm just mindful, and sometimes I'm not so mindful, you know, and that's cool too.
And then you realize it whenever you realize it, and that's okay too.
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good place to wrap up for today. The moral of the story is be where you're at, be okay with it, love yourself anyway, learn about grief, lean into your grief, know when your tank is getting on empty, and eat a banana.
And also,
a glass of water, eat a banana.
And if you need to talk about something, go to a friend, ask for support. You're not here alone. You're not here alone. That's a myth. There are people that are waiting and looking to support you. I am someone who, I invite anyone to a conversation because I understand energy, I understand flow, I understand I've done the work enough where I'm in love with the kind of work of reflection and, you know, internal dialogues and conscious, subconscious. So ask for help, ask for support.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching. You guys were all awesome, and all the comments. I just love having
Thank
your
you so much
here. And yeah, we're gonna do Wind Down Wednesday on Wednesday, right?
We had a good amount of people. It was cool. It was really cool.
So if you wanna tune into our next chat, I think maybe we will get to talk about relationships on Wednesday. So yeah, have a glass of wine, go to get a bottle or H2O, whatever. And on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, so that's 6 p.m. Pacific.
What time is it over there?
Oh, I'm on Eastern time, so I'm good here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're
All
welcome.
righty.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Kana. Thank you, everybody. Tune
Bye
in next
bye.
time on Wednesday. Bye, everybody.